The 50-lap modified Division Gray Stadium has finally started. The drivers are off to a hot start. Tim Brown, Burt Myers, and Paul Radford are all fighting for the lead. The drivers are battling it out lap after lap. Junior Miller is pushing hard, but he's being very careful. The crowd is getting louder as the laps wind down. On lap 48, Burt Myers takes the lead from Tim Brown. He is trying to keep the lead, but Tim Brown is pushing hard to get back in front. On the final lap, Tim Brown takes the lead back from Burt Myers and he takes the checkered flag. The crowd erupts in cheers as Tim Brown wins the race. Fans that have been cheering for Burt Myers are shaking their heads in disbelief. The fans that are cheering for Tim Brown are ecstatic. Randy Pettit is dressed flamboyantly as usual and he interviews Tim Brown after the race. Randy says, "Tim, you have been racing at Bowman Gray Stadium for many years and you have been a champion here 12 times. How does it feel to win this race?" Tim Brown replies, "It feels great. I have been racing here for a long time and it's nice to get this win. I want to thank my crew and my sponsors for all of their hard work and dedication. I also want to thank the fans for all of their support over the years. This win is for them." The 50-lap mod Bowman Gray Stadium is underway. Tim Brown, Burt Myers, Junior Miller, Ralph Brinkley, Paul Radford, Philip Smith, Kurt Brown, Johnny Johnson, Gary Myers, and Billy Hensley are in the top 10. Burt Myers takes the lead on lap 10, but Junior Miller quickly passes him on the outside. Junior Miller takes the lead and never looks back. Burt Myers is unable to pass him, and Tim Brown is stuck in third. Junior Miller holds off the competition and crosses the finish line first to take the win. The fans are ecstatic to see Junior Miller take the win. Many fans cheer and wave their Junior Miller flags. They have been waiting for him to take the win for weeks. Others boo loudly, as Junior Miller is one of the most disliked drivers in the series. After the race, Randy Pettit, in his flamboyant outfit, interviews Junior Miller. "Congratulations on your victory tonight, Junior," says Randy. "What was going through your mind during the race?" Junior responds, "I knew I had to be aggressive and push the limits if I wanted to win. I had a great car, and I knew I could do it. I just kept my focus and drove as hard as I could. I'm just so thankful to have won this race." The 50-lap race at Bowman began with Paul Radford on pole. Radford was the early leader with Burt Myers in second and Tim Brown in third. Junior Miller was the most aggressive driver on the track, quickly making his way up to fourth. The first few laps were mostly uneventful, with Radford and Myers dicing for the lead and Brown and Miller fighting for third. On lap 10, Miller was able to get past Brown and take third. Miller was relentless, pressuring Myers for second and eventually taking it on lap 20. Miller then set his sights on Radford and was able to get past him on lap 30. The last 20 laps were a wild affair, with Miller, Myers, and Radford dicing for the lead. On lap 40, Myers was able to get past Miller and take the lead. However, Miller was able to retake the lead just a few laps later. As the laps wound down, it was clear that the battle between Myers and Miller would decide the race. On lap 49, Myers was able to get past Miller and take the lead. He was able to hold off Miller on the final lap to take the checkered flag. The crowd erupted as Myers crossed the finish line. His victory was cheered by many of the fans, but there were also boos for the polarizing driver. Meanwhile, the fans showed their appreciation for Junior Miller, who put on an incredible show. Randy Pettit, in his flamboyant suit, interviewed Burt Myers in victory lane. Myers thanked his crew and his family for their hard work and support. He said it was a great battle with Junior Miller, and he was just able to edge him out at the end. The modified division race at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina is underway. The track is full of intensity as drivers battle for the checkered flag. Fans cheer on their favorite drivers as the cars come roaring around the track. After 50 laps of hard racing, it is Paul Radford, the Ferrum Flash, who takes the checkered flag. The fans go wild as they cheer on the popular driver. Randy Pettit, in his flamboyant attire, makes his way to the winner's circle to interview Paul Radford. Randy Pettit: "Paul, what a race you had out there. You managed to keep your cool under intense pressure from the other drivers and took home the checkered flag. How does it feel to win here at Bowman Gray Stadium?" Paul Radford: "It feels great. I knew it was going to be a tough race, but I was determined to take home the win. I'm just so thankful for all the support from my team and my fans here at Bowman Gray Stadium." Top 10 results: 1. Paul Radford 2. Max Barrier 3. Jonathan Brown 4. Carl Burris 5. Lee Jeffries 6. Don Smith 7. Danny Bone 8. Junior Miller 9. Burt Myers 10. Philip Smith. The fans were ecstatic with the results of the race. Many of them had their favorite drivers in the top 10 and were overjoyed with the outcome. Tim Brown and Burt Myers, who have a heated rivalry, finished 9th and 10th respectively. Junior Miller, the most disliked driver in the series, managed to finish in 8th place, which did not sit well with many of the fans. The Unified Division race at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina was a thrilling affair, with plenty of aggressive driving and a tight battle at the front of the field. In the end, it was Paul Radford, the mild-mannered Ferrum Flash, who took the checkered flag and earned his second win of the season. The race started off with Tim Brown and Burt Myers leading the way. They were quickly joined by Junior Miller, who was the most aggressive driver on the track. Miller, who is disliked by most of the fans, quickly passed Myers and Brown and set off after Radford. Despite Miller's best efforts, Radford managed to stay in front and take the win. The fans had mixed reactions to the result. Some were delighted to see Radford take the checkered flag, while others were disappointed that their favorite driver, Burt Myers, didn't take the win. After the race, Randy Pettit, dressed in his usual flamboyant attire, interviewed Radford. "Paul, congratulations on the win," said Pettit. "What was it like out there today?" "It was a great race," Radford replied. "There were some very competitive drivers out there, and I'm just glad I was able to hold on and take the win. I want to thank my sponsors, Clarence's Steakhouse and Jess's Towing Service, for their support." Fans were excited to see Radford take the win and cheered as he took the checkered flag. After the race, Burt Myers, who finished second, congratulated Radford on his win. "It was an exciting race." The 50-lap mod race at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina was intense. As the green flag dropped, Burt Myers quickly jumped out to an early lead, followed by Tim Brown, Junior Miller, and Perk Brown. As the race progressed, the drivers jockeyed for position, and it was a tight battle for the top spot. As the laps wound down, Burt Myers maintained the lead, but Tim Brown was closing in. On the final lap, Tim Brown made a daring move to the inside and edged out Burt Myers to take the checkered flag. The crowd erupted as Tim Brown celebrated his win at Bowman Gray Stadium. The fans' reaction to Tim Brown's victory was mixed. While some fans cheered, others booed. The fans that booed were mostly Burt Myers fans, as Burt Myers was the runner-up. The animosity between Tim Brown and Burt Myers was on full display after the race, with the two drivers nearly coming to blows. In a post-race interview with Randy Pettit, Tim Brown said, "It was a hard-fought race, and I'm glad to get the win. I knew I had to make a daring move on the final lap if I was going to have a chance to win. I'm thankful that I was able to pull it off and get the win." Top 10 results. 1. Tim Brown 2. Burt Myers 3. Junior Miller 4. Perk Brown 5. Paul Radford 6. Max Barrier 7. Ken Rush 8. Carl Burris 9. Jonathan Brown 10. Danny. The Unified Division Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina was filled with tension and excitement. Burt Myers, Junior Miller, and Tim Brown all had a chance to win the race, and the fans were split between who they wanted to win. As the green flag dropped, Burt Myers took the lead, followed by Junior Miller and Paul Radford. Miller, who was known for being aggressive, pushed his way to the front and eventually passed Burt Myers to take the lead. The race went back and forth between Miller and Myers, with Paul Radford and Tim Brown in contention for the win. With only 10 laps remaining, Burt Myers made a daring move to pass Miller and take the lead. Tim Brown, who was looking to get his third win of the season, also made a daring move to take second place from Miller. As the race wound down, it was Burt Myers in the lead, followed by Tim Brown, Paul Radford, and Junior Miller. The race ended with Burt Myers in first, Tim Brown in second, Paul Radford in third, and Junior Miller in fourth. The fans were in an uproar when Burt Myers crossed the finish line first, and many were seen cheering and hugging each other in the stands. After the race, Randy Pettit, dressed in his signature flamboyant attire, conducted a post-race interview with Burt Myers. Burt Myers said, "It was a great race, and I am very proud to be the winner. I want to thank all of my fans for their support and all of my competitors for pushing me to the limit." Top 10 results. 1. Burt Myers 2. Tim Brown 3. Paul Radford 4. Junior Miller 5. Perk Brown 6. Philip Smith 7. Gary Myers 8. Johnny Johnson 9. Billy Hensley 10. Jason Myers. The race began with a roar of engines was cheering for their favorite drivers. The first few laps were filled with excitement and the fans were getting more and more excited as the laps ticked away. Burt Myers and Tim Brown were locked in a heated battle for the lead and the crowd was loving every minute of it. Paul Radford was lurking in third, waiting for an opportunity to make a move and take the lead. Junior Miller was driving aggressively, trying to pass as many cars as possible and get into the top 5. As the laps continued, Burt Myers and Tim Brown continued to battle for the lead. Paul Radford had made his move and was now in second, but he was unable to get past Burt Myers. Junior Miller was still in the mix, but he was unable to make any significant gains. With just 10 laps to go, Burt Myers was in the lead and it seemed like he was going to take the checkered flag. With 5 laps to go, Burt Myers had a comfortable lead and it looked like he was going to take the win. However, on the final lap, Tim Brown made a daring move and passed Burt Myers to take the lead. The crowd erupted in cheers as Tim Brown crossed the finish line in first place. The fans were thrilled that their favorite driver had taken the win and they were chanting his name. The post-race interview was conducted by the flamboyantly dressed Randy Pettit. He spoke with Tim Brown about the race and asked him about the moment when he passed Burt Myers for the win. Tim said that he knew he had to make a move if he wanted to take the win and he was determined to do whatever it took to get to the front. He said it was an incredible feeling when he crossed the finish line in first place. The top 10 results were 1. Tim Brown 2. Burt Myers 3. Paul Radford 4. Johnny Johnson 5. Max Barrier 6. Pee Wee Jones 7. Billy Hensley 8. Jason Myers 9. Robert Jeffries 10. Jonathan stepped up to the microphone to address the roaring crowd of fans. He began by updating standings with only 2 races left. Burt Myers is in first place with 2 wins, Tim Brown is in second with 2 wins, Paul Radford is in third with 2 wins, Junior Miller is in fourth with 1 win, and Max Barrier is in fifth. The fans cheered and clapped in anticipation for the upcoming 50-lap modified division race at Bowman Gray Stadium. The announcer continued, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to race." The race began with a bang as the green flag waved and the cars took off. The crowd roared as the cars raced around the track. Junior Miller was determined to move up in the standings and was the first to take the lead. He maintained the lead for most of the race but was closely challenged by Burt Myers, Tim Brown, and Paul Radford. As the laps dwindled down, it was a close race between Junior Miller and Burt Myers. The fans were on their feet, cheering and screaming as the 2 cars raced side by side for the win. In the end, it was Junior Miller who took the checkered flag, followed closely by Burt Myers in second and Tim Brown in third. The crowd erupted with cheers and applause as Junior Miller crossed the finish line in first place. The fans loved the intense race and were thrilled to see the underdog win. Top 10 results: 1. Junior Miller 2. Burt Myers 3. Tim Brown 4. Paul Radford 5. Max Barrier 6. Perk Brown 7. Philip Smith 8. Billy Hensley 9. Robert Jeffries 10. Gary Myers post-race interview. Randy Pettit, the flamboyantly dressed track announcer, stepped up to the microphone to interview the winner, Junior Miller. "Congratulations, Junior Miller, on a thrilling race and your second win of the season. How does it feel?" Junior Miller beamed with joy and pride. "It feels great. Especially to beat old Burt. I knew I could do it if I just kept pushing and never gave up. I'm so happy." The crowd cheered in agreement and the post-race interview concluded with a round of applause. Late, it's time race of the season at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The modified division will be racing 50 laps for double points. The current points leader is Burt Myers, followed by Tim Brown 10 points behind, Paul Radford 21 points behind, Junior Miller in fourth, and Max Barrier in fifth. We'll be crowning a champion tonight, so let's get this show on the road. The race, the green flag drops and the cars roar around the track. Burt Myers takes the lead, but he is quickly challenged by Junior Miller, Tim Brown, and Perk Brown. The battle for the lead is intense, as the drivers jockey for position. Junior Miller is the most aggressive, making daring moves to gain the lead. But Burt Myers is too experienced and manages to stay ahead of the pack. Halfway through the race, the fans are on their feet cheering for their favorite drivers. Burt Myers continues to lead the race, but he is being challenged by Junior Miller and Tim Brown. Burt is not giving up the lead and is driving a flawless race. As the laps wind down, it looks like Burt Myers is going to win the race in the championship. The checkered flag waves and Burt Myers crosses the finish line in first place. The crowd erupts with cheers and applause for the new champion. Post-race interview. Randy Pettit, the flamboyantly dressed track announcer, is standing in victory lane with Burt Myers, the newly crowned champion. Randy, Burt Myers, you just won the modified division championship at Bowman Gray Stadium. How does it feel to be the champion? Burt, it feels amazing. This has been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and I'm so glad I was able to accomplish it. It was a great race, and I want to thank all of my supporters who helped me get here. Top 10 results. 1. Burt Myers 2. Junior Miller 3. Tim Brown 4. Paul Radford 5. Perk Brown 6. Billy Hensley 7. Ken Rush 8. Philip Smith 9. Jason Myers 10. Robert Jeff